Hey, what's going on, Internet? I'm going to be doing a beer review today. Now, this is my favorite beer, quite possibly, in the whole world, if not my top 10. This is one of them, and it comes out once a year. How is it? We're going to go ahead and find out. Alright, so here is Hopocalypse. Now, I already poured it earlier, so the head's a little lower than it should be. Typically you want about 2 inches of head in a glass like this. Now this is a Spiglau IPA glass. This is the proper beer glass for this beer style. And a little bit about Drake's Hopocalypse. It's brewed by Drake's in San Leandro, California. Comes out once a year. They do 4 varieties, if I remember correctly, of the actual Hopocalypse. There is the Black Label, which is their triple IPA, their Green Label, which we have here, which is their double, their White, which is done with New Zealand, Australian varietal hops. They do the Red Label, which is the Green Label infused with blood oranges, if I'm not mistaken. I've had all 4 of them, and the green is my go-to de facto favorite. And the reason is it's really easy drinking. It's not a horribly pungent or bitter IPA. It's a West Coast IPA, so, you know, to some people it may be very bitter, to others maybe not so much. But to me, it's perfect. It's right in that delicious, balanced, you know, bitter, grassy, piney, citrusy, all rolled into one IPA. And it has a nice finish, so we're gonna go ahead and taste it and see if this one holds up to previous years. Well, right away it smells like pine needles and citrus, so like Simcoe Amarillo hops. It's pretty much in your face with the standard, you know, West Coast IPA style hops. The color's a nice copper color. It's not too dark, not too light. Look at that, das goodness. The head is a nice color. The head is kind of an off-white, like you'd expect. The head retention's also nice. So it's got a lot of hop particulate in it, and you could see that in the pour footage that I shot earlier. The flavor is very good, and this is what makes this beer one of my favorite beers, is that it's very, very easy to drink. 9.3 ABV at 101 IBUs. That's a lot of IBUs, but, and for those of you who don't know, IBUs are International Bitterness Units. The higher the number, the more bitter the beer is. Now, the palate can't perceive above 100 IBUs. It's kind of generally accepted that anything above 100, it's just bitter. But you can balance that by having a sweeter malt character in your beer, and they've done that here. It's sweet on the malt with a very nice biscuity finish. Yeah, as it warms up, it gets even more piney. It's weird. It changes a little bit. It becomes a little bit more rind, like grapefruit rind, than, you know, citrus, but the pine is still there in spades. Now, as you can see, it's leaving nice lacing on the glass. That's to be expected. Well, the aroma's killer. The flavor's killer. If you haven't had a chance to, if you've seen this in your local bottle shop and haven't ever tried it, I would definitely suggest picking it up. I think I picked these up at the local bottle shop for $8.99 for the bomber, so it's not a bad deal. And since it comes out once a year, usually around my birthday, it's got a special place for me. Now, that doesn't cloud my judgment on the character of the beer. As a brewer, I look for flaws in beers, and the only thing I can fault this beer on, the only thing I can say is that it's not undercarbonated. So the perceived carbonation just is that way. It feels like it's a little bit undercarbonated because there's so much hop in this beer that the hop oils actually coat your tongue and your palate as you drink the beer, thus keeping the CO2 from, you know, fizzing out on your tongue. The oilier the beer, the more you're going to get that. So you'll typically get that with really sweet beers. You'll also get that with really hoppy beers too. So all in all, a solid A+. I mean, this to me is heaven. I wish I would have gotten it sooner. This batch was bottled on February 17th, so about 3 weeks ago. And it's still delicious. It's still fresh. This is a beer you do not want to cellar. If you cellar this, you're a fool. You need to drink this bad boy. We have cellared it before just as an experiment, and it basically turns into a barley wine. The hops oxidize and lose that pungent, bitter character, but you get this really nice malt backbone and sweetness that comes forward as the hop oils and everything kind of oxidize before the grains oxidize. Again, this is Drake's Hopocalypse 2017. This is a killer beer. I definitely recommend it if you see it on the shelves. If you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear it. I can answer anything you guys want to know about brewing beer. I've been brewing beer for quite some time, so, you know, hit me up if you got any questions. This is Chris. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this beer. Go ahead and click on some of my other videos right here too while you're at it, because I'm going to sit here and drink this. Oh yeah.